Number six, consider approval of the following document regarding the main phases of the Hurley Waterline Extension Project and authorize the chairman and county administrator to execute the document that is approved as performed by the county attorney.
Motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Stiltner, a second by Mr. Brandon. Any discussion? Mr. Atkins? Yes. Mr. Brandon? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Wright? Yes. King? Yes. And I'm a yes. Number seven, consider request number two from Buchanan County Public Service Authority in the amount of $354,791.12 for the Cole Hall Road. Year 23-24 various invoices. Motion.
Second.
So Mr. Dragon, second, Mr. Stiltner, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon? Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes. Consider approving Oakwood Fire and Rescue to receive and store a portion of pharmaceutical supplies for employment in the event of emergency. You want to say anything on it, Jeremy?
It's just a grant that was, through, I believe FEMA, the Washington County actually done the grant as a regional grant, and it's just storing supplies. Every locality has to have one agency that stores supplies across parts of West Virginia. And, in the event, a terrorist attack or radiological emergency was to happen, those supplies can be distributed for you.
Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Wright. Where do you want to store that? Second, Mr. Brandon.
They would be stored at our facility, Garden Creek.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Brandon? Mr. Atkins? Yes. And I'm a yes.
Number 9, consider approving Motorola radios for all fire and rescue services through Virginia State Police Department and Mobile Communication America Equipment.
I think Jerry's here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Morning, Mr.
Good morning, how are you? What this is for fire and rescue to be brought on to the storm site. It's the equipment currently used. We would unify our radio systems throughout the county for public safety. Making ease of operation daily, as well as the quality radio we have.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, are we on number 9?
Number 9,
Okay, is this to update everybody to the stars, radios, all the fire and rescue, correct?
Yeah.
That puts everybody on the same, okay. Has anybody made a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. 911. 911.
We won't have money in our world, we do have money coming that we have to spend. We call it casino money. And then we have to take, you have to appropriate, well, that's. Why do we not have money in 911? I thought we had some money. It's pretty close every year. But we use the rest of that appropriate. So whatever stuff.
Part of it from the counter, and then, something to. So it's a combination of three things.
Three things. Okay. We'll get a motion, because y'all understand.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm in my second to that.
Jeremy, would you want to make a comment?
Yeah, so I spoke with Carrie Friday. Her quote includes a portable radio for every ambulance in the county, which is 17 ambulances. But it's just one portable, and if we're doing this as a safety measure, I would like the board to consider, it's going to cost a little more money, but 2 portables per ambulance so that both of those crew members on that ambulance can have a portable capable of communicating In the event something happens to one of them, what if he was the one that had the portable, the other one don't have a way to talk? I think the cost of each portable is like $5,800. To add 17 more, it would be like 99,000 some dollars. So instead of a 1.2 million, you're looking almost 1.3. I don't know if it's feasible. I would just like you all to
Okay, let
consider
me
that.
ask a quick question. Okay, now I asked earlier, this covers, when I said, does it cover all fire and rescue? So with that, how many is each fire department supposed to be getting?
I have it broken down into individual members as far as like what they would need as far as command vehicles, ambulances, and fire apparatus. Each apparatus would have one radio. As that goes for as well. I think what Mr. Cook's asking for is for an additional portable radio, so each medic on the ambulance would have their own radio.
So does the fire, like the chiefs at each, location, will they have mobile radios also?
Only the command vehicles. No, there's no personal radios that will be issued.
Question there, Curry, there, how many, rescue squads, different locations, how many we got in the county now?
We have 17 operational.
17 operational. Is,
17 units.
And
That would
those
be
are just county agencies.
four agencies.
as I said the last meeting, and I wonder about that. Each area always, and they try to be fair, tries to get the same as the other areas of God. And I worry about this continued hiring to serve. You know, we had it as a volunteer rescue squad. And now I wonder how much it's going to cost us to maintain and pay what they cannot receive from insurances, things like that, to pay these employees. Now, and I know when one gets something, everybody else wants it. And I don't blame them there, to be fair. But I just wonder how much more, how much is it going to add to the county budget for this total number there? And I don't know, but I think that it's probably like schools, everybody wants one in their back door. But can we afford one in everybody's back door? That's my question there, and then I'll shut up there. But common knowledge is, sir, when one gets one, the other one wants one. Now, I'll hush on that there, okay?
I got a
Is
question
there
real
one
quick.
included for, like animal control? Would they need one?
They're at current time, they're not included in that. I'm sure we could possibly work on that, their county entities, they possibly could.
I think you a lot of sheriff's department.
That would like, you know,
What kind of system they on there?
they're on the normal training system that we have in the beach. They operate off of the old rescue thing. In that one's right.
Okay.
Oh, we got on this.
Yeah, I've got a question real quick, Mr. Chairman. Here, Kerry, you said 84 mobile, and you're saying 17 more?
The 84 motors, they're considering motors to be mobile units.
Okay, so you need what?
So there's 17 ambulances total across the whole county. It's not like I'm wanting more than everybody else. There's 17 ambulances across the county as a whole. Each one of those vehicles gets a mobile unit and a portable that goes along with it. Because the
But you need 17 more mobiles, correct? Yeah, I
17
understand.
more portables that would go with each of those 17 ambulances. So that each ambulance would have 2 portables assigned to it, so that if you and I were working on the ambulance today, we would each have a portable radio for communication.
Which is a handy.
Yeah. Yeah, handheld.
So that would take it up to 101 mobile total, right? You have 84 here.
Portables, where it says it down there is portable.
30, I think it was
I got you.
32. It would be 17 in addition to that.
Let me clarify my remarks. I'm not talking about the radios. I'm talking about the increase in paid employees. There's what I'm talking about there. Okay,
I don't think, we'll get people to say the, rescue squad building all day, not get paid, they got electricity and food to put on the table, and the kids that's in the school. And that's the most important, service we provide to the county, in my opinion, so, I think we need to improve it, so cutting it, and, if we wanna cut something, we got 52 secret secretaries. We can cut a few of them, multitask, and, there's a lot of cuts to be made. I'm thinking about making the cuts in January, so, we'll have to.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have a motion on the table for this item. I'd like to ask Mr. Rive to amend his motion to add the 17 radios to this.
I would
Them
have
on
to
the
get
same
approval.
system or?
I would have to get approval through
Okay.
VSP. I would
Do the
think
17
that would be a problem.
like that. Would you amend your motion to add the 17? Mr. Rive?
my motion to
Add the 17? I'll amend my second.
And that would increase each of those numbers by 2.
We have a motion on the floor and second, any discussion? Want to say something, Mike?
Yeah, as far as animal control, that's kind of carries on with the dispatch side. Vehicles, Cal Fire Rescue, is kind of go with me. I'm the point of contact for stars for the sheriff's office. I can make that request and get a quote and bring it to you, see how much it will cost to do a mobile radio and portable radio for a vehicle. I don't, we just went to this new system. We've done 5 updates here in the last 6 months. So I'll have to get a new.
Why don't we just get them a portable radio instead of one in their cars and be done with it
The
for $5,800?
The portables actually run off a repeater system. That's the issue. If I was just to run tower to radio, that's where we lose it. The vehicles actually have a repeating system inside of it that ties the mobile, which is the end part, to the portable. So I can get in our terrain about a half mile to a mile away from my vehicle. I still have radio communication through it. They are working on these as more cell towers get in the area. We'll be able to actually hit a cell tower with them as well through Verizon. But that's, it works great. It works great in the lowlands. But, and I tested all the risk back. But once we get more cell towers, hopefully that will improve that, communication. But I will check on animal control and come back to the board with what. Appreciate it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. King, Mr. Rife, Mr. Stiltner.
Yes.
Mr. Branham, Mr. Atkins, and I'm a yes. Thank you, Jay. Number 10, consider adopting resolutions for the ratification of the following acceptance deeds for the acquisition of property as part of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers non-structural project.
Motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Stiltner, second by Mr. Rife. Any discussion? Mr. King, Mr. Rife, Mr. Stiltner.
Yes.
Mr. Branham, Mr. Atkins. And I'm a yes. Number 11, consider adopting resolution appointing of Janice Davis, Assistant Commonwealth Attorney to the Southwest VASAP's Policy Board for a 1-year term, but no more than a 3-year term. Motion by Mr. Rife and a second by Mr. Stiltner. For a 1-year term, but no more than a 3-year term. How long again?
You want to amend that to a 3-year term, Mr. Wright?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rife? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Branham? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes. Consider appointment to Southwest Virginia Community College Local College Advisory Board.
I would like to.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion? Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Rice, Mr. Stiltner,
Yes.
Ms. Branham, Mr. Atkins, and I'm a yes. Number 13, consider appointment and or reappointment to the John Planning Water Authority for a 4-year term. Current is Mr. Branham. You want back on it?
Second.
Carol? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Atkins? Ms. Branham? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. King?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Number 14, consider approving the data breach and personality identifiable information policy and procedures for the Buchanan County Victim Witness Assistance Program. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Branham? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes. Number 15, consider approving the non-discrimination policy for Buchanan County. Motion, second. Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Branham? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes. Number 16, consider approving the following additional appropriations.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Stiltner, any second by Mr. Rice, any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Branham? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes. Consider approving, well, we'll have kind of looked at contributions yet. I'll come back to that. Consider ratifying the following temporary part-time weed cutters. Motion. Second, any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Ms. Branham? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I got contacted by the golf course. We had a gentleman that quit over there 3 weeks ago. And they're asking that we replace him with Chris Sambina. I believe that's what you spell his name or say his name. I do. Yeah, that is in the form of a motion.
Motion and second. Discussion? Up here. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Ms. Branham? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes. Okay, number 19, consider approving to advertise for snow removal vendors for county roads.
Motion.
Motion, second, any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Ms. Branham? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes. Closed session?
Yes, I had a chairman approved by Liz Wilson with that for financing. And I believe he's going to participate on. So we probably would have to pass that in item of closed session.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll go ahead and give you the second. 2.2 for 711, A6 and A8. And if I can read A6, then the press can understand exactly what we're talking about. Okay, 2.2 for 711, A6. Discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds for the competition involved, originated public initially financial interest of governmental unit with the adverse.
We have a motion, Mr. Second, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Ms. Branham? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes. We're in closed session.
We have to stay in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in here.
Well, I need a little money,
We're gonna stay in here.
Get the money is the problem.
Certified. We have a second. Roger seconds. Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Ms. Branham?
Yeah.
And I'm a yes. Okay, Lee, you need to say anything?
No, there's nothing additional there.
No, she got a full slate for us.
If we pass that resolution.
I wonder if we're going
Do everything over again. Motion to come out of closed session and sort of. Motion to come out of closed session. So it's all.
Discussion. Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yeah. Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon?
Yes.
Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes.
Sorry, Roger.
Now, motion certified.
Motion certified.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon?
Yes.
Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I need to add, I'll make a motion to approve the contributions. I want to add, to give, Hurley Youth Sports $5,000 out of my Trey Atkins athletic account. So,
Motion and second, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon?
yes.
Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes.
Okay, out there.
Okay, last month, we didn't do any action on request to become a plateau planning district for the $10,000. There's doing a housing study, each, they want each of the 4 counties to, contribute 10,000. They're getting partial grant money, but they're getting $80,000 in grant money, but they're needing a little bit more to do the study. And I think I understood it, Russell County's already committed in Dixon. They're waiting on Tazewell and Buchanan.
Motion. Second. Motion and appropriation.
Appropriation, yes, $16,000. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon? Mr. Atkins? And I'm a yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I need to, make a motion that we replace the ice maker at the golf course. It's pretty much quit. And, it's got a quote here, for 5784. I believe you said you were pretty close on that, right?
Yes, sir.
It might be $100 difference back and forth.
Correct.
And, need to get that purchased. And, where would you pay that out of? Ms. Horn, give me somewhere.
Take it out of the property.
All right, Joe Properties. All right, okay, there.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Atkins? Mr. Brandon? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. King? Yes. I'm a yes.
And one more. Chairman. The, count with the, food pantry, the addition. I seen that last night. I'm trying to find it. Anyway, I need to, make a motion to pay for a, freezer for the food pantry out of that. $9714.59 out of that account. They got about $30,000 left over down there.
You know what that does?
I can't find it, Mr. Horn. I found it last night. I've got all this stuff.
So it's your food vendor?
It's the one that we appropriated the 75,000 to build the addition. They've got 30-some thousand left. Well, we did that in-house, take it out of that account. And let's see. Using that.
Is that for
I can't find it.
Is it
36,000?
Yeah, no, that's payment.
Rockledge?
Um,
Storage Building,
Yes,
Rockledge Storage Building, it's, 7106, 11. How much is the pre Do you have the invoice?
9714.59.
Okay, can you give me that? Thank you, and that was their statement.
That's in the form of the motion. Motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brannum? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes.
Last thing, Mr. Chairman, Bluebird Lane, I'd like to make a motion to get, Mr. Stiltner and Ms. Louise and the co-road inspection crew team, whatever, go down there and look at that road. No bridge involved, to take that in to the county road system. We've got an issue with a lot of runoff there coming across the VDOT road. It has 3 houses markings. Yeah. And no road, it actually needs work, with the cattle guard at the foot end of it. So if we could get that taken care of.
I need Tropical Road looked at too. Huh? Pop off.
Mine, Bluebird Lane. Yeah, it's on 609. Yeah, I'd like to get that looked before, we need to try to get that checked and,
We get that big mines on the left.
need to try to get that road fixed because there's a lot of water runoff there coming off that hill, off that road. Run straight across the main route 609. Need to try to get that into a ditch where someone's hurt this winter.
Second discussion. Mr. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Brannum? Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. King? Yes. I'm a yes. Mr. Chairman,
change Pebble Burgess from her current position to work as a grant writer for internal auditor, grant writer, you want to call it. With our,
I'm trying to sort of out. Second. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Second.
When is that effective? Second, tomorrow.
Any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Stiltner? Yes. Mr. Brandon? Mr. Atkins? I need, 35,000 for the salary.
Fire department. They brought their books over here. We went through them. We gave them 40,000 back in May, county money, and then I gave them about 45. So, on my accounts, in order to make it into January, they're going to have some help. And I went through their books. Craig and Trish went through their books. And I just asked Zach what the problem was. If you all remember when we met with the rescue squads, we told our people to run 911 calls, which is what Knox has been doing. They covered Hurley, they covered Slate, they covered Home Creek, over down into Big Rock. You know, for instance, Freighters probably run a little over 500 transfers. That's where the money's at. That's how Rescue 33 makes their money. That's why we're struggling. You know, if we're requiring them to do 911 calls, which I agree with, and not allow them to do transfers, which is the big moneymaker, then we need to help. So I'm asking the board for, some help here today.
So there's both of the units are always staying.
They run 911 calls, that's what they do, because they've got such a big area to cover. And my position is if it's been paid for with taxpayers' money, we shouldn't be running transfers. For instance, Prater can do that because they've got more stuff, they've got more people, they can do that. They've been established a lot longer. Is transfers important? Absolutely. I've had a situation, I needed a guy transferred several times and needed help. And, we have to have that too. Knox just ain't built up enough to do that yet. So,
When we went through their books, did we determine that the staffing levels were what we thought were appropriate, or?
it was, and I asked about the salaries as well. It's on cue with what everybody else is getting, actually a little lower in places. I think one of their people might have made 50 cents an hour more than some others, but I asked about the one account that you were talking about, and that's the account that has the 400 and some thousand in it for the fire department. So that's nothing they can use. That's for grant money and all that. So, and we'll get that over to you, but it's, the account you needed to look at, you do have it.
Now, I haven't seen
Or what about pay?
I looked at that a couple days ago, and we'll get that to break it down to what they make an hour or whatever. But I know they sent you books over the payroll over, and I asked that question hourly versus our other departments. So we're good on that, because I didn't want to get in a situation where they were getting paid $2 or $3 an hour more. So that wasn't the case. But if y'all can do 35, and then if they need a little more to make it in January, I'll do that myself. So.
We have a question there. When our audit takes place, if they go out and audit individual departments or just what they currently.
They do not audit the rescue squads and fire departments. That is a contribution to that nonprofit.
Somebody starts auditing each one out there.
I've got a motion on the floor here that needs to be voted on first. Before we do that. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine with me. I'm gonna vote for your audit. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think it would be interesting to see some of that. I will say this, we give 40,000, this would be 35, it's $75,000. You're not gonna get 12 jobs out of 10 full-time, 2 part-time, out $75,000 and get the service we get. So we're getting a bargain for no more extra money we're having to put in there. So we're getting a bargain, plus it's a necessity. So they are billing insurance. Just like, for instance, if they pick up somebody today, sometimes they're this time next year getting paid for that call. That's the problem that we're running into. So, because I asked the same question, how are you running all these calls and not having a lot of income? And, they're getting paid this month from last year, last month. They've got one more payroll, they're out. We'll have to do something. So I need some help today.
We're getting spread out so much. Everybody, I don't know, everybody should have the same. You just need to keep up with how many, how much, everything there, so we can look into it.
I agree 100%. I think that all volunteer rescue squads should have to provide their book when we ask, which mine has.
I thought we'd already made a motion on that anytime we ask that if they take county money.
Yes.
I made the motion a
That
couple,
passed,
3 years ago.
Actually, in our ordinance for
Yes.
the fire departments and rescue squads.
So we can
Yeah.
look at that
We can
at
audit.
any time.
If any group takes money from the county and they're a 501c3 group, if we ask to see their books, they have to supply the.
Or we
books.
cut them off.
Yeah.
I thought we'd already passed. We did.
It is. It's
Yeah.
already in the form of a motion
agree.
passed and our ordinance.
You have to do something, I agree with Roger that we need to audit all of
I don't think that needs to be done at some future time when there, I think we need to get this done, pretty quickly. I mean, we need to see, not just Knox, but all of them.
I think so too.
If the money's being, our money's being
We,
spent.
I might learn something from Prater and you might learn something
Yeah,
from Knox.
I'm not saying they all might be doing things that we don't think are right, but if we give them so much money, I'd like to know, where how that money's being spent.
I'm all for it. Motion on the floor, 35,000, wherever Trish and Craig figure out the second thing. Agreed, second.
Floor and a second, any discussion? Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Stiltner.
Yes.
Mr. Brannum, Mr. Atkins, I'm a yes.
Roger,
Now, Roger, would you?
you wanna make your motion? You wanna make your motion to add them into an audit? Wherever y'all decide, Fund 52, wherever, general fund, wherever you gotta get it. Yeah, you all find the money.
He made that in his motion. 35,000.
They need that pretty quick, obviously.
Yeah, it'll take a few days. Probably 2 or 3 months.
We got enough for payroll this time here, so we got a few
Is there
days.
any way that we can audit all of them in the short term? When we were talking just now, which it takes longer, but we were just ask our auditing team.
Well, Pebbles is coming over, can she not do that? For us?
Well, she's doing other kinds of audit. This is a financial audit. She's not auditing. The financial audit is a lot different. When does our regular audit, it starts probably the next week. It's pretty hard to say, well, if they're coming next week, then the other same with next year in November. Give them like a motion that they add the fire department rescue squads to the audits that they're gonna be doing in the next couple of days. Yeah.
That's your motion?
That probably will take a modification of
Second.
our audit contract.
Yeah, I would go ahead. I'll contact Foreman about my contract. Well, you may have to ratify the modification.
I don't understand what the motion is.
So they're adding all fire rescue departments to the audit of our general auditor
Okay, yeah. You got a second?
every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I thought, yeah,
Any discussion? Mr. King?
Yeah.
Mr. Wright?
Yeah.
Mr. Stiltner?
yes.
Mr. Brannum? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes.
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple of things. The first thing was in the contributions, we had something from the Big Rock. It's like a Big Rock Fire. It was e-dispatch. I think we get this every year.
$3,300, and it had all of the districts as beneficiaries of that e-dispatch service. Is that something that we can split 7 ways, or?
I thought that's what it said, was split 7 ways, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but nobody signed it, so if y'all just make a motion.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Say it for you.
So, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brannum? Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes.
Mr. Chairman, the other
Thing I'd like to add is I would like to, keep, Emma Justice at the Popper Gap Park. She does 28 hours a week seasonally, but there's a need for her to be there and do things on past that. So I would like to, make her annual 28 hours a week.
If we did the one, I need the one. We mean you talked about, Adrian Martin.
same thing.
Yeah, so I don't know, remember if we done her another time.
I would make my motion to take the part and give it just.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Second, any discussion. Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brannum? Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman,
I have if the board would consider a motion to approve and ratify the contract with Hurt and Profit for hosting GIS website services and other GIS support services. You all awarded the contract to them, but we weren't able to get the contract done until just recently, so we need to put it into these minutes.
Okay. We have a motion?
Motion, say. That's it.
Motion, second. Okay, any discussion? Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Mr. Filner?
Yes.
Mr. Brannum?
Yes.
Mr. Atkins? Yes. I'm a yes. Okay, so we're not,
If we're not doing the continued meeting on 16th, the school system had said this morning they need it on the agenda. I don't think they actually got a hold of Sandy yet to ask for money to do the elementary school parking lots. They need their bids in by the 5th, so we would need to do a continued meeting to the 5th so they can get that done because of the plants closing. So can we continue this meeting until the 5th, about 6 o'clock that evening to deal with that?
Do it. Give them money.
Well, they want to make sure we're going to give them the money, was my understanding. If we could poll the board, they might do it that way.
I don't know if we can afford to phone or two, then y'all know that you're gonna go along with it, and then go ahead with it.
What I'm saying is they're gonna get a number on the 5th, she said, window, because they come on 16th. If they can give us that number and the board, you poll the board and say, yeah, we'll do that, then I think they can do it.
That's pretty much a corporation.
Would have to be ratified. Are they gonna, when are they gonna know the number?
Thursday on the 5th.
Still kind of promise.
I think we need a continued meeting to be the safest and cleanest.
Can't wait till November. Well,
They don't have anything that go into it.
well, they're not spending their money. But if you say you want to, you all know how much it is?
I would say $400,000 or $500,000. All the elementary schools, they're having to cut Hurley Middle School for one, and then Council, Riverview's got a bunch of problems. Twin Valley's in bad shape.
Bill, up on the floor on the card. I'm gonna do this week. Third. Yes, sir.
Now, I'm here to the board. I don't mind doing it.
So Vinci wants to know if you're gonna cut off part-time work for 3 times.
We'll just talk about that in November.
They get changed?
Yep.
I mean, if the board's fine with Craig told us, whatever their number is, we won't have to. We just have to ratify it.
While this board is thinking about that, Benji, could you jump up here real quick?
I don't know, but real quick.
Oh, come on. You could almost touch the rim right now on a 5-gallon bucket. We've got issues with our, mower, hers. Man, they're wore out. Would it be all right if we let Benji go out for bid on a, brush hog, the new style, like, didn't you show that to everybody? That new style that like they use in Kentucky?
I've showed it to several of them. I
Yeah.
don't know if I've showed, I don't know if I got.
One tractor on order.
Yes. And
So
it's
that's
supposed to-
circle bar mower.
Don't see it till it's been like 15, 16 months.
It's been over a year.
Yeah, June, the PO was June 22nd of last year on this sickle bar. John Deere, Allen mower behind. This new style, he's like Craig talking about, they're using in Kentucky. I think if we are going to go out for one, I think that's the way to go. We can get other attachments and everything for it. And actually, I think they're readily available. I don't think they actually have to go. There's no wait time on those. It's just, the machine, like, the last quote I got on this machine was $242. I got one on the brush hog tractor and it was $250. So the tractors went from about 170 to 250.
Well, not just, you got the pro team out in Morristown, Tennessee. You know, we give $100,000 for a truck, you can get one 30,000. Roughly in the same condition. Equipment,
Usually we'll find used to, we've been trying to find out.
Well, I don't have a problem. Right now, we're getting into the time of year to where we need brush hogs to push everything back since the leaves are off, get these county roads cut back. Make it easier come snow, because I've got, everybody here knows what it's like on snow removal. When you got a bunch of overhanging brush but they'll be screaming for this thing and we're gonna have them broke down. I mean, this be a brand new one and they are available seems like a whole lot quicker than what John Deere is. So my motion is to allow Benji to go out, purchase a, new brush hog. I mean, having them doesn't help if you can't use them, if they stay broke down. And they've served their purpose.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah.
You spent more than required than you
Yeah.
spent on the machine.
So I've got the authority to follow the bid process. Take whatever the lowest bid is, purchase.
Yes.
What are these estimated costs?
Whatever you do, but that's the style we want. That's,
Just for the record, we don't have any new tractors
no.
setting up there that we're not using. do we?
No, there is no new
Because that's the
tractor.
rumor floating around. We have 3
Okay.
new tractors
Look, Mr.
that ain't
Chairman,
being
let me-
used.
let me reiterate, we have 2. They're good when they work, but they stay broke down because they're wore out. They're old, and finding parts for these things, it's a mess.
And we've had one on order for how long?
June 22nd of 22.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be delivered. It was actually, I got an email, it's supposed to have been shipped last day of September. Then I got an email 2 weeks later, they're saying it's gonna be shipped the 31st of this month. Do I know if it will be? No.
There's a motion and a second on the floor allowing you to purchase a new brush hog, that style, not a John Deere. Motion second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
My motion to appropriate the
Put
money,
it into general properties under equipment.
yeah.
Mr. King? Yes. Mr. Wright? Yes. Mr. Stiltner?
Yes.
Mr. Brandon? Mr. Atkins? I'm a yes.
Thank you, George.
I'll make a motion to continue to the 6 o'clock concert in Cobble.
October 5th,
October the 5th at 6 p.m. a continued meeting. Yeah.
This. Sure.